The Seerah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, part 29. And so, very few people were spared. People who were with them, one person who was spared was Nufail. If you remember Nufail, he slipped away before the attack. And another person who was spared was Unais, because Allah Ta'ala spared Mahmud the elephant. So in the same way, the keeper, Unais, was also spared. And there were some other people from the army who perhaps were forced by Abraha, and they wanted to go back and they didn't want to destroy the Kaaba. For whatever reason, Allah Ta'ala saved them. And when the whole thing was over, then they survived, but they were incapacitated by terror. They were overtaken by terror. Some of them went crazy, and the ones who were left, they decided to just stay in Hijaz then. They stayed in Makkah. They did not return back to Yemen. They were terrorized by this whole episode, and so they stayed in Makkah and they shepherded the animals of the people of Makkah, and they became shepherds in Makkah. They lived the rest of their days there. And some of the soldiers, when they retreated, they died en route to Yemen, and Abraha was also one of them, because Abraha was the most guilty. Allah Ta'ala made him bleed. Allah Ta'ala, as we say, Allah Ta'ala made him bleed. Allah Ta'ala made his suffering endure and last even longer. It is said that Abraha, he was also afflicted by these stones, and so he developed these small spots on his body, like smallpox, like a person gets these blistered spots on his body if a person is afflicted by smallpox. Allah Ta'ala protect us all. So he got these kind of boils on his body, and then blood and pus started oozing from them, and they had a stench, and then his whole body was covered. But because he's a king, he's a governor, his army is carrying him back to Yemen, and he says that I just want to go back home. I want to die in my house. And so Allah Ta'ala made him bleed. Allah Ta'ala made him suffer more and more, until when he was just outside his house in Sana'a in Yemen, his limbs by that time had disintegrated, had fallen away from his body, and eventually just outside his house, his heart fell out of his body, came out of his body, and he died. Allahu Akbar. This was a sign. These were all signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the people at the time, and for us people also, that if we disrespect any component, any tenet of deen, then this is how Allah ta'ala reacts, and this is how Allah ta'ala comes with his punishment. And it is also narrated that when his army was destroyed there, the people who died there, then the others, they ran away, but they died en route, and some of them were spared, but there were lots of dead bodies lying around. So Allah Ta'ala then, to cleanse the Ard-e Muqaddas, the holy land, and the vicinity of the Kaaba, Allah Ta'ala sent a flood. And this washed away all the dead bodies, and they were taken and washed away into the sea, or wherever Allah Ta'ala took them. And this whole incident had a great effect on the Arabs, because then thereafter they would say that this was a work of Allah. Their iman in Allah increased. They said the idols have not done this, Allah Ta'ala has done this. And so because of this, the Quraysh, and in particular the Banu Hashim, they became known as the people of Allah. And Allah Ta'ala, this is such a momentous incident that Allah Ta'ala has mentioned this in the Quran. A whole surah is mentioned. Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. Do you not see what your Rabb did with the people of the elephant? Alam yaj'al kaydahum fi tadlil. Did we not make their plan to destroy the Kaaba, did we not make that go to waste? Did we not make their plan fail? Wa arsala alayhim tayran ababil. And did we not send the ababil birds on them in their multitudes? تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ مِّن سِجِّيلٍ. And they pelted them with stones from Sijjin, which the ulama kirama say that they are stones from the hellfire. تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ مِّن سِجِّيلٍ فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. So then their bodies became like eaten barley, like an animal when it eats its grains than the stuff that falls out of its mouth. Or when you grind some seeds, then the stuff that you get, like how can you describe it? Like a ready break or something. This is how their bodies became. They disintegrated. They became ashes. Allahu Akbar. This was the qudrat of Allah, and Allah Ta'ala mentions this in the Holy Quran for those people at that time, but also for us people to come to the Day of Judgment, that this is a sign of Allah, this is the qudrat of Allah, that Allah Ta'ala protects and Allah Ta'ala helps His deen as He wants. And the amazing thing here is that He helped the idol worshippers. The people of Makkah in general were idol worshippers, and He helped the idol worshippers against the people of the cross, the Christians. Christianity was one of the religions sent by Allah, although it had then later been changed. But they were the Ahl Kitab, they were the people of the book, and yet Allah Ta'ala helped the idol worshippers. Inna shirka la dhulmun azim, that shirk and associating partners with Allah is the greatest sin. Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bihi wa yaghfiru ma duna dhalika liman yasha. Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bihi wa yaghfiru ma duna dhalika liman yasha. That Allah Ta'ala does not forgive that shirk, that partners are associated with Allah. Allah Ta'ala does not forgive that. Besides that, Allah Ta'ala can forgive any sin, but that's the biggest sin. And yet the qudrat of Allah here is that Allah Ta'ala helps the idol worshippers against the Christians, because the Christians had come with such an evil intention. And also the reason why Allah Ta'ala helped them is because Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was to come from the Bani Hashim, and also in reality, if you think about it, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was actually there present, although he hadn't been born. This incident took place 50 or 55 days before the birth of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was in the womb of his mother Amina, and Amina was present there in Makkah. So Allah Ta'ala showing that, look, I will protect my Prophet, and I will protect my house, and I will protect my religion, by whatever means necessary. So don't mess and don't oppose my Prophet and my deen. Allahu Akbar.